As soon as the Chin family heard these words, the family hurriedly bowed their heads and thanked him as if they were getting amnesty. Warnya stood outside the crowd, watching this scene in her eyes, feeling excited and mixed. Before today, she had always thought that Charlie was just a little accomplished in antiques, but his background and family background were ordinary, so he was not a big man. Unexpectedly, he turned out to be hiding his strength. Today's scene really shocked Warnya to speak. She had never seen such a scene in her entire life. At this moment, Charlie took a step higher, looked down at the people present, and said coldly, "Listen to me." As soon as these words came out, everyone immediately looked up at Charlie, showing full respect, and did not dare to make a sound. Charlie looked around the crowd and sternly shouted, "Out of this door, no one can mention anything to the outside world about today's matter. Otherwise, I will let him have a taste of Jinghai's fate." Everyone's expressions were stunned, and it seemed that Mr. Wade didn't want to pass on his identity and strength. He really is a very low-key master. Unlike the famous Jinghai, who has a little three-legged cat technique, he will show off publicly everywhere. Compared with Mr. Wade, he is simply worthless. More than guilty. As a result, everyone clasped their fists and bowed. "We will follow Mr. Wade's instructions." Charlie nodded in satisfaction at this time, and said, "In that case, we will leave now." In the eyes of everyone worshipping, Charlie left calmly. Warnya couldn't help but look at him on the way to send him back. At this time, Charlie had returned to the ordinary state of his, and she could not see any powerful cultivation base on his body. She was surprised and felt a little weird. Just now, Charlie exuded the aura of a superior, which made people fear and tremble. But now, this temperament is gone. At first glance, it looks no different from passers-by. Hard to say if it is his intentional restraint, or just an illusion. Warnya couldn't help asking, "Charlie, did you really call the spirits that time?" Charlie looked at her and smiled slightly. "Guess? If I say it's a coincidence, do you believe it?" In Warnya's mind, the appearance of Charlie summoning Tinlay flashed past unconsciously. In the flash of thunder, he stood proudly in the world, with outstanding temperament. If it is such a man, no matter which woman sees it, she will fall in love. Warnya couldn't help her heart moving, but she shook her head quickly. What a joke. Even the world's top physicists cannot control lightning. If Charlie could summon Tinlay, would he still be a poor son-in-law like he is now? Could it be that the sky thunder just now was really just a coincidence? When Charlie returned to the door, he heard the voice of his mother-in-law Elaine coming from the house. "I told you to find a capable husband, but you just didn't listen. See how capable this son-in-law is?" He gave her a big 4-bedroom. More than 180 square meters. How bright. Let's look at our house again. It's a total of 120 square meters, so I'm a stubborn person. After finishing speaking, the mother-in-law said angrily, "People's son-in-law can count on it. Charlie's marriage is useless. Counting on him, I'm afraid I won't live in a big house in my life." Claire's dissatisfied voice came. "Mom, what do you envy other people doing? Besides, I have also been promoted to director. If we save a few years, can we still not afford a new house?" The mother-in-law spoofed and said, "Wait a few more years? Wait a few more years, the day Lily will be cold. Since you married Charlie, our family's life has plummeted. We can still live in Wilson's villa, now what? This broken house, my friends, all can live better than me." Claire said, "Mom, does it make sense for you to always compare like this? It's boring." The mother-in-law said angrily, "Because I can't beat others, so I'm boring. Especially boring." Charlie shook his head helplessly at this time, opened the door and walked in. Seeing Charlie's return, Elaine snorted coldly, and said, "Do you still know how to come back? Can you cook the meal? We are all hungry." Charlie smiled and said, "Mom, I'm going to cook now." After speaking, he went straight to the kitchen. Charlie couldn't be more clear about Elaine's character, snobbery and clumsy. He felt uncomfortable when he saw what other people had. If she knows that Solomon wants to give him a villa in order to make amends, she is afraid that she will come over and kneel and lick him immediately. However, as for Elaine's performance, he is not ready to say anything about this house. Charlie was busy working in the kitchen. Claire walked over and said in a low voice, "Don't take what Mom said to your heart, she just admires vanity." Charlie deliberately said, "What did Mom say?" "I didn't hear a word." "Just pretend, it's strange if you didn't hear it." Claire poked Charlie's forehead with her finger. Charlie took advantage of the opportunity to hold her hand. Claire blushed, and quickly looked out of the kitchen before she retracted her hands. But Charlie held on to it, took a closer look, and saw that she was carrying the bracelet he made, and he smiled and asked, "Is this bracelet effective?" "Huh?" Claire regained her senses, nodded and said, "Don't say it is really effective. Since I put on the bracelet, my body feels like a new look and feels much more comfortable." "What exactly is your bracelet made of? Does it work?" Charlie smiled and said, "It's just a pearl.